Don't be too proud of the Extreme Gaming Podcast. The ability to go on tangents is insignificant next to the power of the Force.
In a world where gaming is everything, welcome to the Extreme Gaming Podcast.
Extreme Gaming Podcast, episode 288. I am Trev, as always. I'm joined only by two members of team today, but hopefully the slacker turns up at some point. Introduce yourself, gents.
Already here.
Great Gamer, Gamer 25 here. How y'all doing?
Hello, Slacker number 2 here, Tyler from Gamertech. Thanks for having me, chaps.
Hello,
I'm going to put that
guys.
into our names from now on. Slacker this, Slacker that.
Well, to be fair, I didn't show up the last couple of times, so probably I should be Slacker number 1.
No, but you told us you weren't turning up. I was plenty of notice, whereas a Mr. Irish Guardian said he'd be here at 6:30. BST. He wasn't. So
is he playing truant? That
Slacker.
naughty boy.
You're just a busy boy, Tara. That's all that is, my friend. It's so annoying, Gray. Right? I always try to make it shine at the start and get everyone on screen at the same time before introducing. The problem you have is when you try and bring everyone back on the screen. As soon as you bring the first person on, you move on to the other two. It pops up with a message saying you can't do this for a second. Yeah, pop-up window covers what you need to click on. Riverside, pull the finger out, please. Thank you.
Yeah,
all on at the same time, please. All on at the same time.
Well, that's why I purposely didn't say anything, and neither did Tarl. So when you came on, do the edit right there.
Idiots. Anyway. Thank you for your patience, people. The usual of the Discord where all things happen. And it's discord.gg/Extreme Gaming Podcast, or search on Google for us if you can't be bothered doing that. That's fine. Gray would like you to check for the quick breaks on YouTube that he does, little small subject videos that he does and makes it look jazzy. He'd be very upset if you don't go and seek them out and you know what he does to folk is on him. It's not on me. I never mentioned. I took the other thing out, Mr. Gray, because it's not something I'm going to mention just now. But all good. I think we reversed things slightly because Gray couldn't fit this in last time. So I mean, Gray, this doesn't happen all the time. But your AI corner, by all means, man, what is happening?
Yeah.
And now, the AI Corner.
An AI corner.
I think because when all of us have been talking, we always talk before the podcast people out there to discuss maybe what we might want to talk about. And as we started talking about stuff this week, it's been an extremely busy news week on the whole thing going on with AI / AAA companies laying off people / et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm starting off the AI corner, which kind of blends into our subject matter stuff that we're talking about today. I had mentioned, and we all talked about this about, I don't know, maybe two or three podcasts ago, about how AI, when prompted with nothing more than text prompts, etc., could actually create a Doom game. So they fed in reference video to show what Doom was, and then they would type in, prompting or whatever, and I was like floored that it looked that good. I mean, it wasn't perfect, no. I mean, it looked even worse than the original, but it was doing these things by having no game engine and having no other type of programming other than texting, to tell the AI what it wanted. So that alone was amazing. And we all commented that, said like, wow, wait, it won't be too long before you start seeing better stuff. I was sitting there thinking like, we aren't going to see better stuff for at least, and I was half kidding around. I was saying like, yeah, give it 3 or 4 months and we'll see it. Well, it's less than 3 or 4 months. And now we're seeing it.
AI
and
moves
I was
fast.
just like, it's just like, oh my God, it gets exponential and it's just like wild. So I found a couple of different videos and articles about stuff going on. And apparently Runway, which is a very prominent and AI company, There's like, top 5, top 10, and they're in there. And they do a lot of good stuff. So they came out with something that they call Game Worlds. It's not an original name, but okay. So it's called Game Worlds, and basically it's what they call world models in their technology. So basically you enter into a game model, and then in that game model it's designed to create a game that you want to play. So you're the shaper of the game. It's taking on the software problems of getting you something that you want to see as best as possible.
Kind of like a sandbox where you can tell it what you want to do?
Yeah, kind of, but within the limited abilities of what it can do for now. But the thing that I can compare it to is that when AI first started coming around, you were prompting simple images. The image would come up, and it would have, like, the person might have 3 fingers instead of 5, and all this stuff. And then within, a few months or whatever, all of a sudden now you're getting stunning images that are just, like, amazing. Again, just from prompting. So the program has gotten so well. So now we're kind of at that stage, that, if you want to call it infancy stage, where these world models were built so that you now can go in there and start doing the same kind of thing, except this time you're basically coming up with your own game. Now, this guy came up with a basic, rudimentary game, but he did write a few things about it, and the premise was something like, there's people working at a building, and basically they're taking care of them, doing their normal job and stuff like that, and a computer model thing, whatever, runs amok or whatever, and decides to start killing everybody one at a time if they don't perform what they're supposed to perform. And that could be just their job or something else like that. So that was the premise that he set up. So each time, obviously they couldn't get out of the building. Each time they were forced to do what they normally do, or something maybe that they don't normally do. And if they don't do it, then they would be knocked off one by one. So that was the premise that he put into the world model. And then basically the world model had an idea of what was going on. Then it starts making up some of its own ideas, which he never came up with, that were actually pretty good, and some that were shit that he took out. And then he just sat there, and this guy that I watch a lot on YouTube is very good at what he does, and he tries all the AIs that come out. So he's pretty good at prompting. So he starts prompting certain things, and he starts showing this stuff, in the video. And by the way, for our audio people that want to see the video, I will put a quick breaks together and put some of this stuff in there. There's so much of it, I've got to sit down and edit it in properly. But anyway, so I'm looking at this video, and it's not like how can I say it? It's not like 8-bit from years ago. It's probably like maybe closer to 16-bit, 32-bit, or something like that, where it's looking not bad. And considering where it's coming from and how easy, quote, it was done, I just couldn't believe it. So he sits there and goes like, and even showed, he was going like, okay, well, this isn't quite right the way it interpreted it, so I'm going to go in there and refine it. So he goes in and refines what he typed so that the program could understand what he meant better, and then he regenerates it, and then it comes out to be better than what it was before. So essentially, what he was equating it to is that he was saying that it's almost like when board games came out. Before we had really good quality video games out, there was board games, and they still have board games today. It's not like they disappeared. But when you play a Dungeons and Dragons board game or other board games, you're going off of imagination, which essentially is your prompt, and then you're making up stuff that happens on the game board, and you follow along with what the master is saying, and so forth. So people that are familiar with board games know what I'm talking about. So this is very similar to that in an AI world, where technically, if you're the games master or something like that, you are shaping the world the way you did on the board game, but through the AI. The difference is that the AI is actually able to make it happen for real, like, or real time or whatever. And so that's kind of the way to imagine it. But it's just crazy what I was looking at and what I was seeing. So it gets even better than this, though. So imagine this, or follow along with me a little bit here. There's a running joke out there now that AI has gotten so good at doing this, or getting to the point where it can make games or whatever. So the running joke is that there will be a GTA AI game before we ever see GTA 6.
No, May next year.
No, I know that, but you got to understand the way it's moving so quickly. I almost believe there could be before GTA 6 comes out. This is how much I'm floored by what I'm looking at.
A crappier version of it. Nothing is polished. That would never be possible. I don't think.
Well, yeah, okay. Let me tell you another thing.
I'll put my mortgage on it. Right?
Okay.
I've got a couple of questions before you move on.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
I got a question because if you're saying it's about board games, is it like a multiplayer type of thing experience, or is it single player?
Well, there's no multiplayer involved yet. That's a little too much. But so we're really talking more single player for the time being. But what he was doing is that he basically, there's a company out, like I said before, right now. I don't think it's Runway. I think it's another company that has actually brought out a GTA type game that they have they don't call it GTA, of course. They call it something else. And basically they prompted it to do the things that you would do as a single player in GTA. And when I started looking at this thing, I was going like, wow, yes, it only runs like at 16 frames a second, and it looks like it came out for PS2 or even before that, etc. So yeah, it doesn't look like today's standards. But again, you have to put it in context to the fact that once there was nothing, and then a few weeks later, there's a game running that, even if it is rather archaic, is actually running and looks like and is patterned off of GTA 6 or GTA 5 or older GTAs.
Sorry, my man. Can I pause you for a quick second to give him into trouble? Instead of fraternizing on the bridge of the Enterprise, right, playing with Deanna Troi and chatting up bloody data and stuff, would you be on time, you naughty man? For people listening to audio, it's
I would
Matt.
have come on time, but
Matt, turn that volume down. Whoa, referee!
Holy moly!
Right,
turn that down. I can hear
saying?
Everything you do. I can hear your eyes blink. It's so loud.
Is that a bit better?
A bit better, yeah.
Yes, much better. Yes.
Yeah, that's about right.
I'm
You were, in the
glad
notes,
to hear it.
you were in the notes for ages, typing things instead of coming in and talking to us, you naughty man.
I want to be prepared.
Oh,
You don't see Scott going off on a chin wagon.
You did in that one episode, and he got drunk and he get laid. So I mean, make it up, you will.
True.
Matt, did you hear
That is illogical.
more or less what I've been saying? Because I don't know how much I
No,
have to.
I only just came.
No.
Okay, so I'm not going to go over everything, but basically you'll catch up. But we're talking about how AI is creating games. Okay, so Trev, to answer your question, because you came up, you started saying like, yeah, but it's not going to look as good and the quality won't be there, etc. Well, guess what? Yes and no. No, from the standpoint that the gameplay is still in its infancy, almost as if you were to be playing GTA 2 or whatever, right? But the graphics, I never thought about this until this guy started messing with it. What he did first is he took the engine that they came up with to make the game. So they basically made this little GTA game, and it runs, and within reason. But then what he did was he took the video that was generated for the game, right, and then put it into other AI programs. Now, this AI program is good at making games, even though they may not be, at that level yet. But the other software companies that have nothing to do technically with gaming, he utilized. So what he did was he took the video that was generated for this GTA-looking game. He also did it for a Witcher kind of game, and I'll tell you that in a second. So he basically ran it into another AI program and said, okay, this AI program has been regularly doing good video, text to video, and making it look great. So he runs it through that, and all of a sudden, now we're up to like NVIDIA at 960 level, right? And I'm going like, whoa. And so then he runs it through a different one, another AI, and now we're approaching 1080, NVIDIA 1080 quality. And I'm looking going like, wait a minute. And then he runs it through another AI program to put ray tracing into it. So now you have a game that looks, I fell off my chair. It looks so good, but still played janky because the actual gaming part of it has not caught up to the visual.
How do you teach AI gaming mechanics
They're doing
if
it.
you, if
They're
you
doing it
can
now.
never do such a thing.
Well,
Oh.
that's the point. We kept on saying like, oh, it'll be a good long time yet before AI catches up, but it's already caught up in a lot of ways.
I can't see it happening, not properly.
I
Not,
know. I'm telling you, it's going to be happening a lot faster than even I thought it was going to happen.
I think it will happen. I think the
Oh,
good
it
thing
will.
about using AI for this kind of stuff is that like the thing it's good at is iterating, right? You can just iterate so quickly. You can just take what it's given you and say, okay, and now change this, and okay, now add that, and
Right.
you could just change and iterate so quickly.
Now, I'm going to give you something else that'll blow your mind. So then what he does an opposite type of thing. First he generates a visual picture. So basically he went in and said, I want a Witcher 3 type scene. We see the Geralt character from the back. I want to see the trees. I want castles, et cetera, that you would see in the Witcher 3 game or whatever. So he paints the whole scene, the whole picture. So the AI then produces a one still, picture image of what he said. Looks gorgeous. I mean, everything is high, high res. It looks wonderful. Then what he did is he instead of telling the game machine what it should look like, he fed the reference picture in to the AI and said, okay, now I want you to create this game that's Witcher-like and use this as a reference to create the visuals. So what does it do? It grabs the visuals now and starts to create the game. Now, yes, the visuals don't look as good as the single image that he made because, again, the technology hasn't caught up yet. But it actually took that as the reference and created the game for him. Now, when we say game, it's not a 22-hour game that we play. It's only putting out a few minutes of footage, if that much. But the point is that it was doing it. And again, kind of janky, not up there on the frame per second yet. Even walking around is a little bit wonky. But the point is that when you really think about it from the standpoint of what it couldn't do just a few months ago to what it's doing now, even faster than I thought, and I've been up on this stuff, I'm just totally floored, man. Totally floored. It's just crazy. And when I do a quick breaks about this, I'm going to pop in all this footage, and everybody out there will see it. Now, to kind of follow up on that one, or to kind of augment what I'm saying, recently there's been a big hubbub on Spotify about a group, whatever, called the Velvet Sundown. And I was wondering, what's this all about? So I started looking into it and researching it. Apparently, the Velvet Sundown that has over 500,000 followers on Spotify is completely AI generated, top to bottom. The music, the words, the songs, the people, the pictures, everything. But here's the thing that they're getting into the not semantics, but whether it should be allowed or not allowed point. Spotify never said anything about it being AI. And one of the other services, I think it was Deezer, did say it was AI up
Would you
front.
say it?
All
Geezer?
the other... No, Deezer.
Deezer.
Is that the London version of Spotify? All right, Geezer.
Yeah.
I'm the geezer. So basically, Spotify being one of the bigger ones, but there's other ones out there too that are also never were saying anything about it being AI. So the reason that it came out that it was AI is people started looking more closely. And if you do look closely on one of the photographs that they made, if you look closely on the guy that's holding the guitar, on the neck of the guitar, if you don't look at it closely, you'd miss it. He only has 4 fingers. Even though it looks
Most
like
of us do.
Another one's an Albert Hall, I guess, no? Oh, sorry, that's the wrong part of the body.
It's next to the one available.
So it has gotten so far. The reason I'm bringing up the music part of it is because it's gotten to the point where basically almost anybody can be fooled with AI music now, and that will happen to our industry with gaming. There's already
a lot
happening.
of apps about it, yeah.
And it will get to be as good as the
Greg,
AI music.
Are you trying to tell us that Skynet really looks like people just losing their jobs because it's doing everything? It doesn't need to exterminate us. It just needs to put us all out of a job so that we starve, basically. Is that what we're saying?
So it's interesting you brought that up because if you remember, if you remember going back on other podcasts when we were talking about AI, one of the things that I believe I brought up at the time is that every new technology definitely puts some people out of work, but also creates that many jobs or more so that it makes up the slack. But here's the problem with AI. AI moves so fast that, yes, there may be jobs that will pop up that AI will create, but it's not going to create them fast enough. And so everybody's going to be losing their jobs until it catches up. It's going to be like a curve.
Sorry if you watched that.
So here's the thing with
back to the pod.
whether we want to admit it or not, a lot of the layoffs that we're going to be talking about that's happening in the gaming industry, a good percentage of those layoffs are because of AI. Period.
Undoubtedly.
And the reason they're doing that is because they need to devote money to AI in order to compete. And in order to do that, you have to cut people to have enough money to devote to your AI research.
I don't think it's exactly that, Gray. I think it's just cost saving. I think
no,
that
it isn't. No, that's part of it. Yeah. No, that's part of it. Yes, but that but there's about 50% of it is not because of cost cutting. It's because, well, technically you could say it's cost cutting, because what they're doing is they need like $50 million to devote to AI research because their competitors are all devoting $50 million, but they only have 25. So where are they going to get the other 25?
Well, we'll get to that with Microsoft and my bit, believe you me.
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
So basically, that's what I've just done is painted the picture for us to discuss now. So this is the pre whatever. It's just freaking crazy. So from that point, I'm done what I'm saying. I've set it up, and here we go.
I have a discussion point, and I'd like to know what you think about this, guys. So, Gray, you put in your notes, rumor is that someone is flooding Spotify with AI music to test the waters for acceptance, right? Here's what I think is happening. I think that someone is Spotify, right? So just look at Netflix.
Could be.
Look at how Netflix, what's the one thing they could do to cut costs is to get rid of licensing, right? So they created their own studio, they're making their own content, they don't have to pay licensing fees to all the other studios, right? If Spotify can create their own AI music for virtually nothing, they don't have to pay artists to play their music. So
I mean, good point. I wouldn't put it past the fact that Spotify is doing it at all. In fact, when I made that note there about the rumor, they said that they found out that they're not naming it, but there is an organization or two or three or more that are doing this on purpose because they want to see, exactly like you said, if it's accepted, then, oh boy, they can start making all kinds of music and not have to sign any contracts with anybody anymore.
Not if it's crap.
That's the point.
Spotify.
See, I went back and listened to some of this Velvet Sundown. I'm not going to say I liked every track, but there were some tracks that they're okay. It wasn't bad. I'm not going to say it was the greatest things in sliced bread, but it wasn't bad. But the problem is, and this other guy I like a lot. His name is Rick Beato when it comes to music. So what he did is he decided, because he's more of a sound engineer. So what he did is he took the music because he was trying to figure out a way to detect whether it was AI or not. So he took the music and he fed it into a computer that basically analyzes the music. And once he did that, and this is not a new program he came up with. It's current technology. So once they fed it into it and then he played it back, you could see the sound artifacts start to be pulled out of the music. So all of a sudden there was like a guitar that didn't sound quite right, or there was a drum that was offbeat. Now you wouldn't hear it normally because it's covered up by everything in the mix. But once you started pulling things out, like he even compared it. He took like an old Led Zeppelin song before AI and then put it in the computer and showed you the comparison. So he says, look, there's no artifacting because this is all real stuff. And then he goes, here's the other one. And you see the artifact and hear the artifact. So again, get into the business of technology and software that detects fakes, because you're going to need it when it goes.
Probably.
So, anyway,
Definitely.
just to answer your question, Tara, a little bit. But go ahead. I'm good with mine. I'm done with mine.
That was wow. That was a lot of in-depth information there, Mr. Gray. But a lot's been happening in the AI field. It's been moving really fast. So I've got a funny feeling it'll be more of a regular thing in the weekly pods. Maybe not every week, of course, but more often than it once was. So Yeah, okay, my man. Appreciate it. I think Mr. Matt managed to sneak in with a lovely cheeky game review. And I remember this being a thing, but I don't remember how big of a game it actually was. Matt, you played Aliens Fireteam. Tell me the lowdown on that.
So, on the same thing as AI, Bishop.
Oh,
Ash.
Bishop. Oh yeah.
Come on, boys.
Oh, did you bash it?
No, I tried to bash the Bishop, but
Yeah.
Ash
Yeah.
It took
It
what was the name of the
seconds.
female one? I can't even remember.
Oh, I don't even want to know. No, because you killed the joke then. We've got
Probably would as
There was
well.
a female one?
So anyway, it's an old game. It was out in August 2021.
Yeah,
But
I
it was
thought so.
on the Steam sales for, I think it was just less than £5.
Oh.
But everywhere else was like about £8 onwards. So I ended up buying it, just because. So yeah, anyways, I don't think, I think I played it before back then as well, and I wasn't really into it because it was a bit too runny and not enough. Oh my God, Jesus Christ, I'm getting fucked here. Where are they coming from? They're everywhere.
Not by an alien or anything, but
Yeah. My person's getting fucked. Anyway,
so this is a family show. Well, not exactly.
So so it's quite aesthetic. I wanted to go back into like the Alien franchise because I was a bit bored of what there was going out. Not that there isn't a lot of things to go by, but I wanted to play a bit of something. And so of course, and I think Scythe had this as well, so we ended up playing this together. So it's quite a very gritty industrial style, alien ruins, very moody style that I came across. Xenos were there, of course. They have to be, because it wouldn't be an Aliens thing without them.
Goddamn Xenos.
Yeah, goddamn Xenos. They're everywhere. They're in the walls. Game over, man. So
don't get me started on that one.
Don't Grail plays stupid bloody Discord noises, man, and I've muted mine and do not disturb. So good luck, Gray.
I can imitate it. I don't need the Discord.
You can just put it up on the thing with the motion tracker going.
There you go.
So it says that I'm quite interested. It's very fast paced, I find, where these aliens, they just keep coming at you from everywhere, pretty much. And it was more of a, oh shit, I'm getting overrun, rather than a scary vibe, if you know what I mean. So they're coming from vents, walls, climbing, crawling everywhere.
It's more like a horde or swarm mode or horde.
That's it. Horde swarm style.
I like that
thing. It's quite good, but I like things with a bit of tension. Where I think this still lacks a bit of that tension-esque horror feel that
you could always not shoot them, let them go all over you. That would be pretty.
That's messy. So you get like different types of xenomorphs. Ones that explode with glowing heads.
Oh
yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Sure. Ones that jump out at you and blow up, which is always good. Ones that spit loads of venom onto you as well. And it's a very much a co-op game. You can't play it first person. Listen to me go mad. You can't play on solo, but it is third person. And you'll have like AI, or as I say, synths. You'll have synths playing with you. So you'll have two of them running around with you, or you can have 4 people co-op play this with you. So it's quite interesting that way. We did get our asses caned one of the missions, but then I played it again on my own, and I waltzed through it without any problems. I may have been on my last legs, but still got through.
You legless, never,
absolutely,
man, never.
Yeah. I was like Ash cut from the waist down, and just legs scrolling on the floor. So it's good textures, good visuals, graphically. It's you can do a proper 60 FPS with it at 1080 on the old graphics cards from the 1060 and the 480 RX as well on there. And also it's out on console as well. It's been optimized pretty well. It did have issues where I was doing 4K, full ultra, and full screen, and it didn't like that at all. It kept splitting the screens in half. So on one side of monitor 1, it'll cover half of the screen, and then it'll be on the other side of monitor 2 on the far side. And it's just like, why is it doing that?
Wow.
And then it kept freezing. It kept going into a small window, big window, half a window, 3/4 of a window, and a hexagon. So it was
Hexagon?
a hexagon, yeah, and then freezing over where you can't actually do anything with it. So it had bad times. So I think with that, I actually had to redo my my NVIDIA drivers and then do that, just a clean slate, wash up, and it seemed to work better then. Reviewers are still saying that it's quite cinematic. They like the animations. I think it could be a lot better. Everything, pretty much they agreed with the repetitive of just getting bounced by swarms of aliens coming at you. Another thing was oversight. You know, where you get the kill markers of how much of a health things have. That was a bit of a pain because it kept getting in the way of the immersion, if you can call it immersion, on there. But yeah, it was quite good fun. It was exciting. It was quite fun. It was definitely funny. But yeah, it's not like good old Alien versus Predator. I think they really need to do that, revamp that, and bring it out and make it co-op. That'd be even better. But yeah, there you go. That's Aliens Fireteam for you.
Matt, when you played this last time, back in the day, I'm just wondering, like, if you've paid for it just recently that's the impression I got, that you bought that recently because it was cheap. But then how did you play it back in the day? Was it part of a Game Pass or something back in the day?
I think it may have been a part of Game Pass, or I may have. Was it a demo or something?
Because I played it. I played it.
Yeah, it must have been a Game Pass.
And I don't remember paying for it, so.
Yeah, me neither.
Did you get it from Pirates of the Caribbean?
No, but I did recently actually do that. It actually works. Great, went through it all, and I actually built up my laptop to do the same thing, and it kind of works.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, you won't say anything about being fit. Anyways,
So is it worth playing, right?
No.
I like Aliens. I like
if you like
games.
Aliens and you like that, then yeah, it is quite fun, especially with
the
people.
online element's the problem, though, with be doing it that way. You can't really hack that.
Yeah, you can't. No.
Or if you can, it's extremely difficult, and you risk getting an account banned and things like that. So it's better for like single player games and stuff. So
yeah, right.
Do I know something? This is me speaking about half of me and not Extreme Gaming Podcast.
Go on,
I am a dirty pirate, but not when it comes to games. I don't know why. I think it's the hassle. I just want to be able to click on a cheap price, download it, works fine. And to add on to that, I also we'll get to whole digital rights in a moment. On top of that, GOG, Good Old Games, run by CD Projekt Red, founders of The Witcher and said games, Cyberpunk. They have their GOG store is DRM, digital rights free, and that's what I believe in. So I would rather actually just download a game, and then it's mine, ideally. But to each their own.
Yeah,
it's like Lord Gaben said. Something I can't remember exactly, but something along the lines of piracy is a service problem, not a pricing problem. You know, when gaming. When it's hard to play games because they're live services and they're getting switched off, which, you know, that's happening a lot right now. People are going to pirate them, right? Anthem,
Is Anthem? Yeah, they get
that's a whole thing, man. Anthem, that is it's but we'll certainly I have a point at the end of my spiel there, so I think it's you done there anyway, Matt. So
have
you seen the Stop Killing Games thing going around at the moment, guys?
Yes, I think we've got that in the agenda.
Yeah.
One of us, me. Is it me that's got it? Stop Killing Gay. It ties in with one of the things I'm saying anyway, so I can mention it at the same time. Right, okay. So the first thing, oh man, this is a rant, but you expect nothing different. That and rants and tangents. That's what we should call ourselves, or like a side podcast. Matthew!
Say that. I'll be editing that out. Thank you.
Jesus
Write that
Christ,
down.
man.
You got to
Do
edit
me
it
a
out.
favour.
cunt.
See,
Great,
if you're going to have a little cheeky,
up.
see if you're going to have a cheeky little drink during the podcast.
You're
Don't
making
drink
more
so
work
much that
for
you
me.
start cursing like a trooper, man. Jesus.
Don't
I'm
edit
just,
it
I'm
out,
just reading
Greg.
what you're writing.
Just put a beep.
So
Oh,
he
I
was,
don't read
I
what
have
we
to read
write.
things that you write.
so he was late and he's cursing like a sailor. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Good evening.
Sailor.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Right, you're
Okay.
keeping Gray in
Nothing
a job
about
here.
Tuesday. I know. He loves it. Just keeps him going.
No, I
Yeah,
love it.
see you
Yes.
next Tuesday. It's
Yeah.
funnier when you say it like that, like
Yeah.
frack or something, Anyway,
frack,
right,
yes.
we're ranting here. We're ranting. We'll
ahead.
carry
Yeah.
on this rant. A lot of people know this, but Xbox, aka Microsoft, aka the big nasty empire from Star Wars. I'm referring to it as that. Yeah, I've done it. They have confirmed layoffs. The layoffs are astronomical, so they try and publicize it or give it the image of only 4%. But the problem is the amount of people they've got within their company that initially equates to approximately just over 9,000 people. Now, in the last year, probably less than that, half a year, that actually goes up and up and up. That's just the latest round. They've actually got rid of a lot more people than just that. They're actually closer to the 15,000 mark if you count this year alone. But the latest round of cuts were just over 9,000. Now, this is across all departments. I'm actually just going to read out the little quick statement here, guys, because if you're going to slate them, you at least need to read from the script and at least give them a fair slagging. We'll continue to implement organisational and workforce changes that are necessary to position the company and teams for success in a dynamic marketplace. In a message sent to all staff, Microsoft's head of gaming, Phil Spencer, stated the cuts were designed to end or decrease work in certain areas of the business and allow Microsoft's lead in removing layers of management to increase agility and effectiveness. Now, yeah, okay, there is some truth in that. I believe in too many companies, there are too many levels of middle management. I've always said it. You can't get anything fecking done because it needs to go there and there and there. I've worked for companies in the past where, and I won't name them, where there was management and you couldn't do whatever you wanted to, but they would say to me, Trevor, I would check in, should I do this and do that? Trevor, if you think you need to go and buy it, get it done. And I had to rewire my brain to think the way they thought. And then I left that company and I had to rewire it again to the norm. So a bit of trust and, get things done. But he's right there. There are too many levels of management. But it's a front. It's a cover also for the real truth where Nadella of Microsoft, the head honcho, is basically got... this is a small swear on there. Not as bad as what Matt said, but it's... Nadella's got a bit... He's got a bit of a hard-on for AI, right? He's got a bit of a love of AI, and he's basically making these cuts to fund this front because at the end of the day, Microsoft are one of the richest companies in the world. They're often trading number one place with Nvidia and Apple and Google for the top spot, right? So they're always in the top 3 or 5.
Not for a while, I think. Not
No, not number one, no, but it's okay. It's certainly in the top 3 or 5. Last I checked, anyway. But they're very, very rich, right? So it comes down to you hired these people in the first place, so you've got again piss poor management if you don't have any kind of small foresight to what's actually going on in the future. You pay a lot of people money to see basically their mind readers. You've got to say, right, what's going to happen in the future? Let's hire based on what we think is going to happen, right? So you've done that and you're wasting money, or you're just piss poor and you didn't do that. And you've hired all these people that are excited to work for Microsoft, work for Xbox. They go in, they do their thing, and you're going to let them go. Just to fund this AI thing. Microsoft, you're never going to come number one with AI. Like, you're just not. Like, you're going to be up there, but you're not going to be number one. There's other companies that have got more in the race than you do. But it leads into one. So I could literally spend so long in this, and I don't want to, but to give it enough context,
Such a liar.
one of the things Xbox cancelled was, and I can't get my head around this one, we saw this last year, it was at Summer Games Fest, I think, Perfect Dark, the new or the remake version of Perfect Dark. We saw a working, plausible demo with mostly CGI. I can't remember if there's actually any gameplay in there, but we saw something that was well and truly into its production and maybe could be out within 2-3 years or something. That basically...
Trev, to add on to what you said, since you brought up Perfect Dark,
I haven't finished the Perfect Dark bit, but go for it, man.
Well, I'm just saying, the developer confirmed that most of what we saw in that great demo that we all saw, he says, was real. He said there was very little actually, cinematic, and it was all real, which makes us angrier because it looked great.
Yeah.
And yet the game was canceled anyway.
It kind of blows them. It's Xbox literally, or Microsoft, pissing money up against the wall. It costs them potentially more to cancel it at this stage than to keep it going and try and get something out. It kind of blows my mind. So
called tax write-offs.
There's 2 reboots. Perfect Dark's one of them, and then Rare, the guys that do Sea of Thieves, they had a game cancelled as well. It was called Everwild. ZeniMax had an MMORPG called Blackbird that was cancelled, and apparently Phil Spencer played a working demo of this, and they had to prize the controller out of his hands. He was enjoying it that much. Yet I don't necessarily blame him, right? Comes from up further up. Zadella's, or sorry if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, has basically said to Phil and other head honchos, you've got to cut this percentage, right? And Phil's had to make some difficult decisions. But if it's a game you love, it's huge, why are you cancelling that? Why are you bringing up... it kind of baffles me. So that studio is pretty much all gone. It's kind of bonkers, but it's pretty much all gone. The company said they have more than 40 projects in active development heading into 2026. Only 40, and that's with the cancellations. So I don't know. Like, if any of you guys want to chip in with any comments, any thoughts, any rants. Microsoft, you see you next Tuesdays, and I dare you come and sue me. I've got nothing to be sued for, so come and get me.
Well, you had mentioned before, and I saw an article too about the demo being so great on the MMO shooter that they had to pry it out of Phil Spencer's hands. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, "Geez, man, if you had to try to pry it out of the head honcho at Xbox and Game Pass and all that, and then you go and cancel it, it's like what?" So I'm like you. It's very frustrating to see what's going on, but I can tell you that some of the reasons that they cut it. Number one, definitely tax write-off, no doubt about it. They can sit there and just go, oh, look at the people we're laying off, and and then blah blah blah, and they'll just write it off, and they'll get deductions for it and all that stuff. That's number one. Number two, the other reason I think maybe that and I could be wrong about this, that we're seeing the layoffs as opposed to like what you were saying, Trev, when you're supposed to plan for this kind of stuff so that the layoffs don't happen like all of a sudden. I think what they were trying to do is they were trying to keep them around for as long as they could and working for as long as they could until AI caught up. And then eventually when they felt that AI caught up enough in their mind, they get rid of everybody right away so they can replace it all with AI eventually. I think that's part of the decision as well. And then, of course, the third reason would be the normal reason. They're losing freaking money because they're putting out crap games. So when you combine all three of those different things, it doesn't sound good, at all.
Yeah. No, it's... Anyone else got any other thoughts? Opinions, rants?
I think a lot of this is going to be to try and fix their tanking stock price. I would not be surprised at all if in about a month or next time they release all of their financials that we see that they did a big stock buyback, which is quite common these days. Get rid of a load of people, lower the bottom line, increase the stock price, buy back all the stock, money. This is this is what the shareholders want, right? So that would not surprise me at all. My second thought
pump
is
and
that
dump.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like an internal pump and dump. And my second thought is that you talked about that some of them are going to be management level, Trev, and I guess
a lot of them won't be, but purely on the numbers.
Yeah, what is it? Almost 10,000 people. I would bet that there's probably one or two handfuls that are director or VP level.
Yeah.
Because
A lot of them will be managers.
It'll be the middle and lower management, supervisors, team leads, that kind of thing, and just people that they don't need for programming anymore, and it's really sad. And so that's a lot of people that are going to lose their jobs.
And you want to bet that some of those managers that are getting fired, again, I'm sticking my neck on this one. I don't even think some of those positions actually ever existed. I think they just put them up on paper and then they cut them and say, "See, we're cutting management."
Do you not get into trouble? Do you not get into trouble massively with authorities for doing that? Microsoft would do that.
Fraudulent.
Yeah, that's
Freelance
major
consultants.
fraud. Yeah, mate. I'm sorry. They are dumb, but they're not stupid. Or they are.
Well, I'm not saying. I'm not particularly saying it would be Microsoft.
They need AI.
Matt, have you any thoughts?
Well, better than that, they hired AI and then they fired them.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah. I think that's pretty much the way they're gonna go. They're gonna save that money. They're gonna put that into what they wanted, which is number one, AI. Cloud AI, and go from there. Yeah. They've always, I think they've said it a few times that they're going to go that way. Even with my workplace, we're looking at AI and cloud-based Microsoft applications, security. So yeah, I think that's what they're going to do.
You know, the problem, and Matt kind of hit it on the head a little bit there. It's almost like it's a virus now, because companies that maybe would not have done this or don't want to lay off people are almost forced to lay off people because they have to compete. So if they don't compete, they lose their entire company because they're going to be put under. Yep. So that's the horrible thing about it. It has to be.
They're weighing.
You must keep up with the Joneses. You have to. If you don't, you're dead.
There's no point in you if you want to get into the games industry and you want to be specifically in this example, in this case, a game developer or a programmer. Don't get into it. Don't. These, and it's not just Microsoft, although they're the biggest, nastiest example of it. Your job is never safe. There's no job security, especially, no offense to the Americans, if you're in the States in one of those studios. You're gone so quickly. So yeah, it's kind of disgusting. The one of their divisions, King Division, which makes Candy Crush, part of the reason they bought Activision. They're cutting 10% of their staff, about 200 jobs. So that's one of their profitable departments because they wanted it for the mobile side of things massively. It's kind of bonkers. Other studios as well. So Turn 10, who make Forza, they are getting 50% of their staff cut. Even though Forza is huge for them, Forza Motorsport won't be a thing anymore. It'll be maintained. Forza Horizon, they won't have enough people to make any new games now. That'll be a maintenance thing. I can't get my head around that. That's one of their big IPs. These decisions don't even make sense. So, who's to say that one that Shell, what was that called again? That game?
Oh, Fable.
Yeah, who's to say that's not on the chopping block? Yeah. Honestly, who's to say? We've seen so very little on it. I think it's safe, but
it's that Fable 3, wasn't it?
Yeah, that we on the chopping block.
You could basically put Elder Scrolls 6 into that basket too.
Yeah.
And or they'll wait even longer until AI catches up, and then they'll produce the game because it won't cost them.
I mean, Microsoft. We're talking about how rich they were. Like, they've got a market cap of over $3 trillion dollars, and in the most recent quarter. Exactly. In the most recent quarter, they made nearly $30 billion in profit alone. And I talked about other cuts recently, if you kind of give you some more context or a bigger picture, if you like. January 23, the company laid off 10,000 employees, around 4.5% of its workforce. And then a year later, in January 24, they confirmed 1,900 staff were to be laid off across several departments. September 24, another 650 jobs. It all adds up. This is, again, my opinion, not the boys' opinion necessarily, or Extreme Gaming Podcast, but Microsoft, you're really scummy. Like, I can't say that. even scummier than Nvidia, and that is a high bar to try and vault over at the Olympics. But you managed it, and you cleared. In fact, you're not even gold; you get platinum. It doesn't even exist, but you've got it.
I just need to add. I need to add something there. Firstly, I don't think any company is more scummy than Nvidia, because I think that if Nvidia were in the same,
they don't lay off as many.
Microsoft,
They don't lay off as many people. They don't lay off as many people.
But here's why, Trev. They aren't losing money like Microsoft are, right? They aren't losing market
Can
share.
you elaborate
like
on the
Microsoft
losing
are.
money thing, mate? I generally thought they were trying to just put some more money into their AI. That was the heavy rumours I read online.
Well, I mean, just look at their market share,
Is it
right?
the market
look at their
share,
stock
yeah.
price. They are losing out in the CPU market massively to AMD, right? So whereas Nvidia have a 90% market share. Trust me, if Nvidia were in the same position and they were losing market share to AMD, they would be laying people off hand over fist. No doubt.
But they don't compete in the same market. They don't make their GPUs or CPUs. What do you mean? Am I missing the point there? You just talked about general market
just
cap.
in general. Yeah,
Right,
just in general. If Nvidia were losing market share to a competitor, yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think even the way we're talking about it is that this is business, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
It's just that I think the negative parts of big business has never really trickled into the gaming as much, or we didn't perceive it as much, like maybe is a better word. And then finally, when it had to catch up to it, now we're seeing it all at once. And basically, it's so apparent that you don't have to have a college degree to realize what's going on with AI and the monies they have to move around and the shareholders they have to take care of and blah, 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 blah. The only good thing out of all this is, and we talked about this before, is the rise of the indies. So now indies are popping up all over the place with far smaller groups of people and putting out games that are better than most of the AAA, standard developers out there. So at least from a gaming standpoint, we're gaining better games in the long run. Again, I feel bad for everybody that's getting laid off, and the whole thing's ridiculous. But I would rather see. I'm hoping. I would assume too that some of these people will be getting picked up by these smaller indies, because, and I say smaller, but what I mean is,
or starting their own companies.
Yeah, I mean anybody between 30 people to maybe a couple thousand is still considered pretty much indie and small. But so we may end up getting more and more of this, and so we in the long run we may actually benefit with and stuff. But that still doesn't change the fact that it as much as we don't want to believe it, we do believe it. It is big business. It happens all the time, and now it's just happening at a massive rate.
Trev, there was a point you made earlier, and I want to throw something at you and see what you think, sir, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
You said about becoming a game dev. Perhaps not the best idea. I recently watched a video with, I can't remember his name, but I think he's known as like the godfather of AI. And the guy said to him, the guy that was interviewing asked him, so knowing what you know, what would you say to your grandchildren or your grandchildren about what they should do as a career in light of AI? And do you know what he said? Become a plumber.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a bit disrespectful to plumbers, by the way. I think I get his point, but that's a bit disrespectful.
Well, no, it's not really, because what the point, if I'm understanding this correctly, Carl, and I've read some articles on this, is the simple fact that some of the jobs out there that will probably always be out there or will be out there for the far foreseeable future are trade jobs like plumbing, electricians.
Exactly. That's it.
All these.
I don't think it was disrespectful.
Right, no, it wasn't, and I understood where you're going with that. And just for a second, I know it doesn't have anything to do with gaming, but what they have seen in statistics now is that trade schools are actually now starting to increase students. There's more and more people going to trade schools because there's thousands of jobs, hundreds of thousands of jobs for trades that no one can fill.
Yep.
Because everybody had stars in their eyes about all the stuff they wanted to do.
And this is the thing. AI can't plumb. AI can't do an electrician job, No, not yet. Yeah.
Not until it gets
cyborgs.
not until it gets a 5090 put in it, or a 6090, the next one, I guess, yeah.
Well, the thing about that is that it's probably not going to do it for quite some time. Because why? Because you don't have the physical robots that can do that kind of stuff now. And that's going to be a long time before we see one able to do
Once we
that.
have the Terminators walking around, then they'll turn some of them into plumbers. So there'll be plumbers.
You see a guy show up at your door with the red eyes and everything and goes like, I'm here for the plumbing.
I need your gloves, your boots, and your water meter.
Yes. I need your wrench. I need your bicycle. I need all these things.
If you want a shit, come with me.
Yes, exactly.
Oh dear.
Oh my God.
There is I will probably ask a small favour for Gray that Mr. Amazon Prime delivery guy has decided to come in the evening and he'll be here in a moment, so I apologise. Gray might have to step in with his news if it comes to it, but we'll see. I'll carry on as normal for now.
We cover each other. We can always talk about other stuff.
Is it from the sales?
No, because this was ordered yesterday and they only started today. But we will cover a couple of those things, to be fair. Some of those things are on the agenda. Mm-hmm. I mentioned this in recent times, recent news, pretty much confirmed. Mark Cerny, the lead architect of PlayStation, says the PS5 Pro will get its major replacement for the current PSSR, or as the boys like to call it, Pisser, yes, upscaler next year.
Pisser on.
This is basically, it might not be branded as such, but it's basically AMD's FSR4. And I say AMD, Sony worked on it just as much and contributed just as much. I don't know why it didn't come out at the same time as PlayStation. It was probably test it on the PlayStation for longer kind of thing rather than the rights issue because they both worked on it. But FSR4, as we've discussed in the past, is comfortably the second best machine learning technique out there, and it's closing the gap.
Both of them.
It's closing the gap on DLSS. That's still got the lead in my opinion, but the gap is narrowing. So this is a great thing. I've got DLSS on my NVIDIA card. I've got, come next year, certainly FSR sitting on my PlayStation. That'll be really useful on a console because you're needing to upscale things massively when it comes to consoles, because you can't just upgrade the graphics card or something in it, as we know.
Consoles is where this technology is really going to take off, right? I mean, it has to be.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
basically
I'm not
what we're
saying
saying
it's not
is,
taken off already, but it's the best use case for it.
So basically what we're saying is consoles, as we've noticed over the last year or two, are becoming PCs. And slowly they'll just be PCs. You don't even have to call them consoles anymore.
Yeah.
I mean,
micro PCs instead.
Or maybe, right, exactly, right. Or you call it a PC console.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they'll merge.
I mean, there is a reason they do that. It's just, it always comes down to money ultimately, but they want to make it easier for people to develop for. And if we all are on the x86 architecture, then or format, then we're going to make life easier for everyone involved in the industry. I go back to the PlayStation 3 scenario. Look what happened with that. They almost lost that generation's race because everyone involved, especially the developers for it, were like, what have you built here, Sony? I try to get my bloody head around this one. And then eventually they did. They got used to it over time, but it was only towards the end that they overtook Xbox at the end to win the generation. So people are too scared to go away from x86 for now anyway. But they're going to have to, because as we know, Moore's Law's pretty much in the bin now. Mm-hmm. We're nowhere near ready for quantum computing yet. We're getting close to actually getting the nanometer size of the chip down to bloody the quantum universe with Ant-Man. So
we've talked about ARM a few times, and I think ARM is going to be the next big thing in computing.
Yeah. Or at least
it's not
a next big thing. It already is a big thing.
Yeah, but
there's no next about it.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
By the way, I meant to interject because when you started bringing up Quantum, that was something I had later on, but I'm also bringing it up now.
Quantumania, very quick. Average movie, I thought.
No. So I picked
Quantum
up
of Solace.
This
that was
is a quick summary, but this is something that we all have been reading a little bit about, what's coming up next in quantum and all that. So apparently researchers have developed a technique using quantum materials to make electronics 1,000 times faster than the current model. 1,000. The innovation allows switching between conductive and insulating states using light, eliminating complex interfaces in electronic devices. Eliminating. You won't need them any longer. This breakthrough promises to replace traditional silicon components, leading to smaller and more effective devices. Ongoing research continues to explore new quantum materials that could further revolutionize the electronics industry. So, like we said, and you just said, Trev, it's already here, and it's gonna start trickling down real soon. Can you imagine just totally eliminating big chunks of machinery that's in your computer now? You just throw it out the window. You don't need it anymore. It's like wow, and 1,000 times faster. I mean, we're already really fast. Can you imagine 1,000? It's like it'll basically be, when you go to click the mouse, it'll already have clicked it for you because it knows what you're doing.
I mean, there needs to be a big breakthrough soon, right? Because Moore's law is mostly dead, kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
And we've been on an x86 for, I don't know, 40 years?
Yeah.
Question mark. I don't know if exactly. It's a long time. So
it is amazing what they've done with it, though, over 4.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Get every
definitely.
bit of performance out of that.
But I'm pretty sure there will be a new big thing soon, whether it's ARM, whether it's something else or whatever, whether it's some sort of quantum computing. We need that next big boost.
We need that step, don't we?
Yeah, because we're not making giant leaps in computing anymore. We're making very small iterations and for small progress. So yeah.
That's all valid points.
Well, I think what's going to happen is
Coco, shut up! It's not a podcast unless you can say that.
It never comes out in the podcast. I think what's going to happen is ARM is going to be, I think, the stepping stone, or not the stepping stone, but the in between. So you're going to see ARM do all this amazing stuff, and and eliminate some certain amount of circuitry, blah blah blah.
Especially
and then
in mobile.
It will be right, and then they'll keep on working with that and getting as much as they can out of it, and squeezing as much as they can, and then you'll slowly see the quantum stuff.
Well, quantum needs to become part of the non-gaming aspect before it can be a part of the gaming aspect. So that is well and truly not in our lifetimes in terms of actually hooking up.
I don't know. Sometimes these breakthroughs, they just come out of nowhere,
Do you know how it works, though? I'm not asking you to give me a quantum computing lesson, but you're literally having to freeze things inside to the coldest part of the universe, even colder than that, actually, for it to work. So how do we get from there to something we can stick in a box beside our desks?
Look, I get what you're saying. But like with any new technology, right? That before it exists, everyone thinks it's witchcraft, right? If someone mentioned computers back in the 500 years ago, they would say that's witchcraft.
What did it say in Marvel? What did it say in Marvel for like Thor and Asgard and all that? What is magic? What is magic? It's just science you don't understand yet.
Exactly. Right. So what I'm saying is the next big
time.
breakthrough could be any time now, but we don't understand it yet. We can't fathom it. So it could be tomorrow that something happens.
I
won't do it tomorrow.
You don't want to get into more. You don't want to get into more.
Actually, I'm busy tomorrow. Can they do it like next week?
Yeah.
The way I look at it is you don't want to get into mortality rates, but not knock wood. I'm 67. If I make it to 97, which I have I should be able to. My mom lived to 100. But anyway, think about it though. 30 years, whether it be 30 years for me or you guys, okay? Look how much stuff has changed simply in the AI field and quantum to some extent in only the last 3 years. 3 years. Okay, and now you're talking 30. So if everything is exponential, and it is, that means I think we could well be into quantum way before you think.
Yeah, I agree.
In
AI might help.
No, but let's emphasise that it does exist right now. It has for a number of years. It's just getting it down to a smaller, manageable, safer, usable level, which is very possible. You're right. That could happen, mate. That could happen. We can never rule it out.
Let me give you an example that you guys will understand, right? Do you know in the Star Trek film where it goes back and you've got the guy that created the warp drive, right?
Yeah.
He created the warp drive and then suddenly it was just like, boom, massive progress in every area,
Well, try telling the Vulcans that one held us back for I don't know how many decades. Pointy ear gets that they are. Anyway, you're right, man. You're right. It's a good. I like these analogies. They're brilliant. The last thing to just add to that point is you might assume that the new version of the FSR4, if that's what they call it, might be like a low-fat version, but no, it'll be the full-fat version when it is released, which is cool because there must be something baked into the chip that allows it for that because we know FSR4 needs at least some level of hardware because the latest GPUs from AMD, you basically can only run FSR on their latest, for now anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I found that interesting. That'll be good. That'll be a little upgrade for my PlayStation next year. Brilliant. Love to hear. The next thing I don't know if Matt had this in his docket. He had something about small PCs. I know that much. But this thing here, I found this and I thought this was bloody cool. Look at this, guys. One of the world's smallest laptops. It is.
That's what I got at work.
Yeah, it's called the 2-in-1 Piccolo Series 81, and it's got Intel's NUC 100 CPU in it. Like, I've got one of these things here. It's essentially like an up-to-date modern Square NUC that I'm going to use as a retro gaming station.
Well, they're meant to. Right, but there's a difference between mini PC and the small laptop, though. Just so.
Oh
clear.
Well, I mean PC. Okay, if you want to be technical.
Like me personally, I would rather, if I'm going to go after something like this, I'd rather have a mini PC because I think laptops now are too small. And you look at this thing.
Yeah,
it's
to each their own.
Might as well just use your mobile phone at this rate.
So this thing is literally, I mean, for people, the audio people, you'll need to see the visual side of things, or video podcast, you want to see it. But essentially, it's besides something like an Xbox controller, a trackball. Gray's trackball mouse is here, people. Someone else uses it. There's more than one customer.
See?
But it's tiny. Like, here's some of the specs of this, right? So an Intel N100, 4 cores, 4 threads, up to 4.4 gig, built-in integrated graphics, RAM. It's got 12 gig of the low-power DDR5, 4800 mega transfers, internal storage 512 gig. So you can upgrade it with micro SD. So that'll be a bit slow for the old storage, but a number of ports there as well.
What's the actual size of it, Trev?
Yeah, the actual dimension. So this is in metric. So you need to do the conversion, peoples. 200.6 by 130.6 by 17.9 millimeters.
20 centimeters.
Basically, it's tiny.
That's small.
It is 658 grams, so not even 3/4 of a kilo.
It's larger than a Surface Pro.
It is. I mean. They can just about fit the keys in this thing. It's absolutely adorable.
And the N100 is a tiny footprint as well. It's like so economical with power.
Is it like
it will last forever.
It's like a fingernail or something, isn't it? Or
It's
smaller.
like a borrowers took a BlackBerry.
Yeah. The battery life on that should be pretty insane.
100%.
I heard the new model they're going to come out with after this is going to be 50% smaller.
Could be. Although I don't know how you fit the keys in that.
You're going like this on a laptop.
How do you fit the keys in that, boys? So this thing here it's got a 360-degree rotatable hinge, which turns it into a bit of a kind of tablet thing. So like you could use it in tent mode, and that I can see that being slightly more practical for that. This thing is not practical in general. Of course it's not. It's a gimmick thing. Some people buy it because it's cool. You really, unless you can teach your hamster to use a laptop, it's maybe not going to be very useful for you.
Hey,
but I just think it's cool because it's got an 8-inch screen in it. You know, it's kind of like a big bloody phone. You know, mini HDMI port. You don't see it often. Mini HDMI port in it as well. But listen, like honestly, see, someone's tried to game with this, and 720p, man, and you're getting some stats here. You can get 60 FPS, 720p in a couple of games.
Boy.
But it is generally just a chuckle.
You can't see what you're playing. That's the only
So
problem.
it's better than a PS Pro.
Yeah, well, see, this is why this is more practical.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think I'd prefer a NUC rather than
connect that to a bigger screen. And I've got a 15-inch portable screen I can take with me if I need to. So, yeah, I just thought I'd share that.
That's the only thing you've got that's 15-inch, though.
Yeah. I'd really, well, I don't know what you're going to do with that thing, man. Like hanging washing out on it, Jesus. So the last thing, and if I'm interrupted, I apologise. I'll come back to it. But
weather suck at the end.
Matt, our esteemed colleague and friend Hans put this in, but we did read up on it. Ubisoft are trying to get on the front foot here. Ubisoft, the bad guys. Gray keeps them in a job apparently by buying their games and subbing to their past. Don't think anyone else does. They're making
some in the news cycle.
They're making some unpopular changes.
If I'm keeping them in business, they're going to be out of business real fast.
They're making some unpopular changes to their EULA, and that is not a new magical instrument or something Spock would play in Star Trek. This is the end user license agreement. We will give it a go. This basically, right? The short and sweet part of this is there's a whole thing with digital goods, and we will add on to the end of this by saying that there are campaigns in the UK and Europe to try and preserve digital games with respect of parliaments and whatnot, and they're well above their signature threshold. So I hope they move forward in a positive way. But
just to say, Trev, sorry to interrupt. They are above the threshold, but they're looking for, I think, about 40% above the threshold, because there'll probably be a load of ones that aren't counted because people have used VPNs or stuff like that. So just to say, anyone who thinks that they should not sign it now because it's over, keep signing. Go and sign it, because it still will make a difference.
That's valid. Yep, that's valid.
We should put a link in as well. So
if we could certainly add that into our show notes.
There you go, Mr. Gray.
The thing here
with this is next Tuesdays.
The digital rights side of things is they are going to, if a live service game is ended, like a lot of them are starting to go that way, or they will in the near future. If they, like, sampled the Crew 1, they stopped. That was an online game. They didn't make an offline mode, and it basically is just died. Essentially, you can't play it even if you've got a disc, or if you get a digital version, you load up, nothing happens.
Which was the game that kicked this off, by the way. It was the game that kicked off the Stop Killing Games.
So many have came forward from that one, actually. But yeah, that was the daddy for that one. They're saying essentially, in a roundabout kind of way, is once we've ended a live service game, we demand that you delete said copy from your console or PC, according to our laws and rules. Now, Ubisoft, if you're watching, you can sit on that and spin round, get off, recover for about 10 seconds, get back on and spinning it again. Away and play with yourself. You and Microsoft can go and run and play with the traffic, okay? Play with the buses. Obviously, that's not going to happen, and it wouldn't make any difference anyway, because if you've killed the live service, I can't feckin' use it, you idiots. Honest to God, there's no two brain cells between them, boys. See,
exactly.
Yeah.
And if it's a disc, Ray, you can use it for a coaster. I want to use it for a coaster for my drink, okay?
At this point, surely they're just speed running their own demise, right? They're just, what are they doing?
So it seems like
this is such bad PR.
And they already got rid of the Crew, haven't they?
Yeah, Crew 1.
Technically, if you listen to what they say on the new EULA, that means if you own physical copies, you need to destroy them right now.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I've seen that happen with a lot of games, though. A lot of services where they're just like, yeah, that's it. We're dropping it.
Not right now. It's once.
Yeah, what? It does say destroy or delete.
Yeah.
If the live service game comes to an end.
Sure,
right, but the way they word it in the EULA,
with a shiny box, you probably want to keep that, right?
Mean.
Yeah.
You keep the box. That's about it.
Look, there's lawyers out there who know how to write stuff. So apparently they didn't consult a lawyer when they wrote this, because it literally tells you in the way I perceive it and others perceive it, that if you did own a physical copy of the game, you need to destroy it as well. Yeah, I'm like,
that's wild.
Okay, sure.
Do you get your money back?
In fact,
don't be silly.
We thank Hans for providing. We thanked Hans for providing this information to us. But what was funny is I was talking to Hans, and he is a collector of physical editions. He has some stuff that you wouldn't believe, and some of the stuff is worth money. And he's going like, right, I'm gonna go destroy all my entire collection, and just because of that EULA.
It's just not a good look, is it? I mean, I don't understand this. They've got enough bad press already.
Yeah, and every time they turn around, they get more bad press. This is what's crazy. They've got
maybe
enough
they literally
the
are
stock
doing.
is tanked.
It's quick.
I mean, look, they just got convicted of all the shenanigans that went at work. they're guilty of that. So
Great. I kind of hope. I know you don't like this. Maybe I genuinely want Ubisoft to die now, along with
Me too.
Microsoft.
Yeah.
I genuinely
I don't
do.
care.
Like
I
it's
don't
scummy.
care.
It's scummy, and everyone knows
Yeah.
my rants of the rinse and repeat and most of
Look,
their games. But on the top of all the shenanigans, just die already. Honestly.
Any
The only
company
reason-
that treats
the
their customers like shit should just die.
Yeah.
no, I
Yeah.
agree with you.
Is
I
this
don't care
actually enforceable though?
No, of course it's not.
No. So yeah, I'm just like, yeah, you can talk the talk, but you ain't gonna walk.
Yeah.
But I want to be outraged. Damn you, Matt.
Oh, you
Yeah,
can be
you're
outraged.
right, man.
Well,
Well,
I'll be
but-
outraged with you. So I think they're all
Matt,
a bunch
that's all
of
the
see
more-
you
that's
next
all-
Tuesdays. The old.
But the thing that's the thing
Fiddlers.
that's goofy about that, Matt, is that if they can't really, go after that. Is the fact is that, well, then why write it if you know that it's not going to be able to be
But
held anyway?
clearly, lawyers were not properly consulted, or
Exactly,
or
that's what I said.
it was Better Call Saul that you consulted for a really cheap no
They
bono kind of
basically
deal.
they basically got some law student who's only in their first year and is here, write this.
It's
Or
but-
actually-
boys,
Put this
boys.
as your essay. Yeah.
This leads on to the Stop Killing Games campaign that we were talking about moments ago. Now, this is possibly most likely going to be carried forward, but as Taro said, we will include it in the show notes, Mr. Grey Gamer, you and I, depending on what we're doing with what bits there, but we'll add it in regardless to the audio and the video side of things. Sign it, because not only, as Taro said, you're weeding out the people that are abusing it and taking the piss, or just sign up one night when they were drunk. But if there's tiers, so if it goes up to another tier, it will get expedited and it'll be treated more seriously. It just means when it gets to 1 million, they have to entertain it. But
Yeah.
they can look at it and go, bye-bye, and put it to the side. So if you keep doing that, on top of what Taro said, they'll take it more seriously. Now, a lot of these guys, they're all they're old codgers, and they don't know what a PlayStation is. They don't play with one of them. Like, they don't care about that, but they're representing us. So we need to force it down their neck that this is something we do care about. And I think something will come of this, boys. I generally do. Now, it's not happening in the States as far as we're aware. This could be down to the whole America being free kind of thing, and it's like whatever, the good and the bad, and it may never happen. But maybe, as Grace said before, they see what happens in the UK and the EU, and then someone starts pushing it. Great. Without going into too much detail, and I'm not testing your US politics knowledge here, political knowledge here, if America or you as a punter or your town or state wanted to get something trying forced into the legal system in your state and your country, how would you get a petition going? Is there a certain level of numbers you need to get to before the state and the country will look at it?
Basically, it is a petition thing, like you're saying.
Okay.
And petitions around here, unless they get a massive amount of signatures, pretty much to do nothing. I mean, they might make a little bit of news, but not unless they've something serious. Like if you come forward in this matter of maybe 500,000 signatures, now you're talking. That's a lot of signatures.
Yeah.
So then you start getting press, and then the press increases more and more, and then you start getting some legal eagles looking at it, and it kind of just proceeds from there. And
so there isn't a
that's
number.
kind of how it works.
There isn't a number. For example, it's either 100,000 or 1 million. I think it's 100,000 signatures in the UK Parliament before they'll even look at it, and then it goes up and up like the EU system. Is there a number that your state or country has to start looking at things?
Not really. I mean,
See, this is why it's not happening.
But my understanding
exactly,
is that
because
there
it
isn't
doesn't-
such a mechanism in the US.
right. We don't have any mechanism like that.
Really?
Basically, it. No,
The thing
but what happens is, like
Your
I said,
country's too free.
If you get a decent amount of signatures where it's noticeable,
But
then
that's shaking the birdcage rather than. I mean, we don't want to actually injure any animals in this process, but it sounds like you literally have to shake the birdcage to get something moving rather than giving people more power to the people.
yeah, that's probably about right.
I think in America, capitalism is like too deeply entrenched into the culture,
Right.
and I think that companies will just lobby. They'll lobby the government and say, "Yeah, we don't want this. Here's £1 million," and then it will just never happen.
All you got to do is prove something loses money, and then they listen.
Yeah, and this is gonna stop companies from making money.
Honestly, like I think if they drill down to the bottom of the mantle or below that in Earth's core, it wouldn't be like Brendan Fraser, Journey to the Centre of the Earth. Hi, Brendan. It would be lots of dollars. Literally, there's no molten, there's no core of iron at the middle. It's like a washing machine of dollar bills that turn the planet round, and you know. Is that all it is, money?
There is a positive thing, though, Trev. There is a positive thing that's going to come out of this because if the EU do pass any kind of laws, probably America will follow suit, just for the reason that it's too expensive for companies to have one rule, one way of selling just for the EU and then another way of selling for America. So they'll probably just cut and paste it across the whole world.
It's yes and no. I do agree with that, but then look at Apple. The EU forced them to do a lot of things, which, for example, the USB-C port or the Lightning port that was taken out with USB-C, that's now the norm. However, adding in things like a secondary app store and whatnot is only been forced in the EU. They're not adopting that in the UK because I'm not getting a rant about that.
But they might.
And well, for now they're not, certainly, but in America as well, the same thing there. They're not been forced to implement that in America, so they're not going to because they make more money. So yeah, you're right. You are right. What you say, Tar. It's a big subject. It's a big deal. We will include these notes in the show notes, or just Google "stop killing games," and it's only for people in the UK and EU. If, like Taro said, if you're pissed off one night and you're in Texas and I'm going to sign up for that, they'll just, with VPN, they'll just remove it. So,
that's why I haven't signed it.
Not for now, anyway. So, yeah, a lot of information. Thank you, Mr. Grey Gamer. You have some game news for us.
Yeah, I kind of talked about a lot of it, but what I wanted to do, because this makes a good point and is also a little bit of fun for us, right?
Yeah.
I saw a graphic online that I thought was pretty cool. It was showing good games and bad games, right, and a little reason why. And I basically kind of stole those and allowed us to read what.
Gray, really
That's
quickly.
perfect.
Really quickly, you've got a setting, I think. See, when you're naturally quieter at the end of sentences, sometimes your mic is not picking it up anymore. Just to let you know, my man. I think it's a setting, maybe.
That was the best bit.
Is it still on Pac-Man setting? Because maybe.
No, it's not a Pac-Man.
Are you doing a me?
Yes, it is.
By
actually.
any chance?
Pointing to me. Anyway, what I was saying is that these particular images that I saw were really interesting. It made a very good point. So do you want me to start with the so-called good games or the bad games first?
Always start with a negative and end in a positive, mate. We all know that.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Or mix
so
it up.
basically, they showed a little picture of a game, and then they put a little remark by it. So Suicide Squad killed the Justice League, $200 million loss.
Oh.
Dragon's Age Veilguard, 100 employees laid off because these games didn't sell or didn't do what they expected them to do. Star Wars Outlaws, major stock market drop. That was Ubisoft, right? South of Midnight, that just came out.
Yeah.
South of Midnight, it just came out. Only a 1,400 player peak player count.
What was that game? Was that like basically Redneck Simulator?
I don't know. It was interesting. I wanted to try it, but boy, it didn't go far. Concord, biggest gaming failure of all time.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Forspoken, the dev studio shut down. Unknown 9,
So
The
did
Awakening.
Concord.
Yeah.
Unknown 9, The Awakening, which was something they were looking at. More layoffs. Intergalactic The Heretic is in development, and it's already a hated game.
By whom? I liked what I saw. How's it hated? Says who?
I don't know, but they did the research, and apparently people are not happy. And
That's
then
Naughty
Overwatch,
Dog.
the original. Overwatch, the original, not Overwatch 2. Overwatch 1 has only introduced one legendary skin in 8 months.
What a quote,
So
Greg.
that's a little
Apparently,
sampling.
They did the research, and people aren't happy.
Yeah.
So now, here's
love
the
that.
research.
Hang on. It's I don't buy at all the intergalactic thing because that's a Naughty Dog game and they don't make shit games. So that is just bullshit. That because all we saw was a CGI. We didn't see gameplay. It's far too early.
Wasn't there? Right.
Do you know what it is?
Right.
Do you know what it is? It's because it's not The Last of Us Part 3. That's fucking why this is hated. It is. Anyway, sorry, Greg. Carry on, mate.
That's okay. So on the good game side, okay, Monster Hunter Wilds has sold 10 million copies.
Mm.
That's a lot, boy. The first Descendant, 264,000 players at launch and more on consoles. Stellar Blade sold so well that its devs got a huge bonus.
That's from you.
They got a huge something. They got a huge something. I don't know if it was a bonus.
Yeah.
Marvel Rivals.
You bought 95% of those copies on burner accounts. Admit it. For the
I bought all
cheeseburgers.
them
For
up.
the
It says that all.
cheeseburgers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are good
Marvel
big bags.
Rivals. Marvel Rivals.
Especially with
Google
the sauce.
searches increased over 3,000% because
Special
of Marvel
sauce.
Rivals.
Yummy.
Here's another one. Goddess of Victory, Nike,
Get the pickle.
Nike, whatever, made $1 billion in only 2 years.
It is Nike. It's not Nike. You're right.
Whatever.
Nike.
$1 billion
It's not
in 2
whatever.
years.
It's not whatever. It's what is a fact and what's not fact.
Nicky.
It's Nike.
Nikkei.
Nike. Nike's with 1K.
Nike.
2Ks. Anyway, then Mecha Break, a demo with 317,000 all-time peak players on Steam just from the demo. Okay, these are all the games that are doing quite well. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. Naraka Blade Point. Anyway, over 100,000 concurrent players, almost 4 years after it's come out. Tides of Annihilation in development, and it claims here that everybody loves that game and they're looking really forward. And Overwatch 2 had
It's really
4
good.
legendary skins and an upcoming mythic in only 8 months.
You see a common trend,
So-
and I think Matt pointed to this and alluded to this slightly. Good
And
games.
lots of burger.
Most of these thumbnails have, as he's calling
Burgers.
them, burgers on them, and that's
Yeah.
just a crude way of saying there's lots of pictures of CGI gaming ladies on them. Gray, did
With
you make
jiggle
this
effects.
up? Did you literally create all these thumbnails, or have you
This
taken
is
them
your
from somewhere?
library, isn't it?
You dirty old man.
Yeah, you did a Clarkson on your
added the
library.
names of the games.
What I tell you,
'cause
boys?
I only put the names of the games because I didn't know a lot of them. So just
There's literally birds in every single fucking one. Actually, yeah, there is a hot chick
Every
in
single
every
one
one,
of
man.
them. Yeah.
Hey, look, it goes back
With
to what I
long
said
legs
last.
and big tatas.
It goes back to what I said last podcast.
Mhm.
97% of the audience that plays games are male. If you go for the male audience, this is what you should be doing.
It
And it's
very
proven
much
out
looks
by
like,
Stellar Blade and others.
Great. It looks like these two images were made by someone in the Go Woke, Go Broke brigade, because the good ones, they're all hot ladies, and the bad ones,
We're all crap.
not so much.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but again,
There's
yeah,
a minger, they're all mingers. They're all mingers, actually.
Yeah.
They are all mingers, most of them.
Yep.
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 They're all part of
Hey,
the.
wait a minute.
of the I
There's
don't know
several
league.
females in the bad one. They just
Yeah, they're all.
They're unattractive females for the
Wrong.
most part. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
No, they're not. The only one that looks terrible is the one from Star Wars Outlaws. The rest of them are fine.
Well, that one's got a moustache. I don't know.
No jiggle physics,
One's
I
got a
don't think, in
mustache.
any of
Yeah.
it.
That one's got a straw. I think that's a straw.
Look. It's not. It's not.
He's got
the
a
point
big,
is,
that one's
it's
got
not.
a big gun.
The point
in the
is
middle.
that there
Yeah.
are many games being done out there for the audience that they're supposed to be made for, and they're not. These are none of these. A lot, not everybody, but a lot of them aren't AAA, and we're getting good games.
Yeah.
So
How much
keep
does
the
it cost
trend.
you?
I don't care if all the AAAs that they're making the games right now all go under. I feel bad for the people, but my point is, if they go under and people go to work at the smaller guys, and we get
I want to
games
see
like
your
this-
library just to see if all of them
You
are
know.
in it.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
My library.
It's the circle of life,
that
guys.
Depends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look at the older games. Before woke and all this other crap came around, when we were playing games, most of our games all had females like that. I mean, they all did.
Yeah.
You know, stuff. So it's nothing unusual. It hasn't changed.
Get
The
out
only
Tomb
thing that I
Raider.
can say is that, regardless of the fact that I like Stellar Blade for the looks, I also, when I found now that I've been playing the game, it's a pretty darn good game. I'm having a blast with it. The gameplay is much better than I thought it was going to be. It's also a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be too. So I'm having fun with it. But anyway,
I bet you are.
that's just another proof of, get the good
Burgers.
PC games. They're out there. That was kind of what I just kind of wanted to touch on. The other thing was they came out with a list. I want to see what you guys think. It's the 10 best games of 2025, the first half of the year. So I'll go down some of the names. Now, some of these we've all heard of, and we know. Some of them maybe not. Depends. But the first on the list was Split Fiction. which I have not watched or played, but I heard it was very good. It's getting a lot of good.
Is
meant
this
to be
the
very
trailer,
good, yeah.
Gray? Because I was actually. Oh yeah. Carry on.
Yeah. But I'm not looking at the trailer right now. The Altars, which I've heard, this is more than once. It's been a really good game. And I think that's on Game Pass. I'm not sure. Mario Kart World. You know
That's
what that's
fun.
all about.
That-
This is one I've not heard of. The first Berserker Kazan. I don't recall that game at all. But that's supposed to be very good. Tainted Grail: The Fall of Avalon. I actually wishlisted it, but I didn't end up buying it. The next game was Doom: The Dark Ages. We know.
Mm-hmm.
Death Stranding 2, which supposedly is supposed to be better than the first one.
That's contender for graphics of the year. It looks stunning, and it's all Rasta as well. Brilliant. Yeah.
Elden Ring: Night Rain, which is the DLC, which some people love and some people hate, but it's on the list. Claire Obscure Expedition 33, which I've already played some of it.
Contender
It is
for
a
Game of
great
the Year.
game.
Have you played any more recently, Gray?
Not recently. No, there's so many good games out. I'm trying to polish through them now. It's crazy. Right
As
now,
soon
I'm
as
playing
that one
two
comes
games.
out on sale, I'm getting it.
Oh, it's a great game. It really is good. And I only played a little bit. And it's great.
That'll go
Kingdom
better.
Come Deliverance 2. I don't know. Have you guys played any of that game? I played it about the first few minutes, and I liked just the first 10 minutes. I thought were great. Let
I
alone,
want to play it. I haven't yet.
yeah, I heard that. I mean, I really liked what I played. I really did. I thought it was well done, and I hardly scratched the game and stuff. So I definitely want to hit that. But that's a pretty good fair list of what are the best. I thought maybe they were going to throw a couple of ones in there that make no sense, but no, that's a good list. And that also proves that there's. I don't know when I'm going to get to some of these games. I mean, I'm in the middle of a couple of them, but
It's a good problem to have. Again, how many times have I said it, boys?
No doubt.
The amount of times that people have said, there's no games to play, they're all shit. I literally want to stick their head in a blender and say, get a grip.
I think the good thing about this is when you do say something like that or you think something like that, the other games that you haven't played are even higher quality than some of the games you were going to go back and play. So we're actually benefiting even more now. So when you're finished with one game and you want to get to the other game that's been out for 6 months or whatever, you're going to go to a really good game as opposed to maybe not as good. So in a gaming aspect, we're all benefiting greatly, from all this. It's great. So we'll see. But that's the 10 best for the first half. So I think that pretty much does it for me. I guess
Taro, you're up next, my man. You've got. I'm interested to hear about this because Gray's talked about this in the past. So, loss of scaling.
Cool. Oh, I was going to do the other one first, but that's fine.
Oh,
I can
sure,
do this
yeah.
one
Yeah,
first.
what happened to the
It's
consumer?
all good.
Yeah,
You get,
No,
you
it's
get
all
2
good.
points.
Right.
we were so excited about we just skipped right over.
So, yes, lossless scaling. Gray has talked about it a few times. I have not used it myself personally, but I did see in the news, and this is just going to be a little quick one, by the way. This is lossless scaling is now out on Linux. Oh, do we have any Linux users here, guys? Anyone?
Not yet.
I done it a little bit in uni, a little bit, and then I forgot how to use it. And yeah, done.
I think Linux is. Well, if you look at Steam OS, I think it's going to boost the usage of Linux very much in the next few years. So, guys, check out lossless scaling. It enables you to upscale and do frame generation, and basically it means you don't have to use DLSS or FSR, right? So it's a completely kind of standalone thing. You
but
do
you
pay a
would
little
want
bit.
to use DLSS over lossless scaling, wouldn't you, if you had access to it? Because it's the number one machine learning tool.
Yeah, for
right,
sure.
but you
I
can't.
think
But on the lower NVIDIA cards, you can only get 2 frames. If you want more.
Sorry, you cut off a bit there when you moved away, Gray. What you said?
I was saying that lossless allows you to go past the 2 times frame rate on an older card. That's the nice thing about it. So if you need to boost it up or you want to boost it up to 100, 150, you can.
Okay.
The funny thing about lossless now, the way they've done it, is that instead of having the multiplier, you literally can go as far as you want. I mean, obviously, it's not going to play as well if you go too high. But the way they've made it is that they balance it against the hertz of your monitor. So if you're running a 240 hertz like I am monitor, you can literally have it boost up to 240 frames, but don't pass that number, the hertz number of your screen.
Yep.
Now I haven't really tried that, but it is possible, and people do it.
Okay. Interesting.
But all right, what about the next thing there, Tara? We just skipped over. You can go ahead now.
Sure, thanks. I'm going to share my screen. Let me see if I can do this. Screen. Hang on. Window.
That share button.
Here we go. Right. So I've got a screen up.
Look at that.
And for the benefit of people that aren't seeing these images, I'll try and describe it for you. But Huawei have released a smartwatch that has earbuds, however you want to call them, inside them. And check out this video here. So I'm just scrolling down, and you can see the top of the watch opens up, and inside are your earpods. Look at that. Very cool. I looked at it and thought, that's a bit of a fad. I'm not sure if that's going to be something that people will use. But the more I thought
wonder
about
how thick that is, though. How thick the watch is.
Yeah.
Look, you can see there, it's not that thick. And people do like thick watches. That's a big thing. People like the chunkiness.
It looks pretty thick to me, but still.
Of watches. So I think this could take off, a nice, easy place to store your pods. And you've got a nice smartwatch to go with it as well. I think it's about £450 or dollars. I'd imagine I think it's dollars. But can you imagine this, guys? I mean, you've got a smartwatch with the full kind of smart top on it as well, and you can do all the kind of smartwatchy things like change it all around and have different faces, and you could have it digital or analog or whatever. But then you just press a button and you open up, and you've got your earpods in there.
How are they going to stay in your ear?
Just
The
I
rubber
imagine just
tips.
like the rest of them do,
The rubber tips keep it. It's a kind of silicon thing. It just kind of
Just a
what she
friction
said.
suction thing.
No,
going on
what you
there.
do, Matt, is that because they're smaller, you just stick them all the way in there and leave them there.
Yeah, just super glue those things in.
Yeah,
And you don't have to
then
worry about it.
Yeah.
They'll turn up again in a few months, probably at the other end.
Sure.
Yeah, that's it.
But what do you think,
Recycle.
guys?
There you go.
Does anyone have a smartwatch? Does anyone use earpods? Do you think this is going to become a thing?
No.
I think it'll keep it
Probably
all
not.
together, which makes things a little bit easier to take care of.
Probably not, because AirPods are the number one in the world by a long shot, fortunately or unfortunately. And
No, they're terrible.
Android smartwatches are just nowhere near as popular.
True.
Okay, so here's a question then, right? This is a Huawei thing, right? Which is Android, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But what if Apple came out with this? What if this was Apple? Is it a different story?
It'd be like an iPhone on your wrist.
They wouldn't make something like this because they like to keep all their things separate. They usually keep like all their items very separate within their ecosystem.
Yeah,
it
but we're
looks
playing
cool.
a game, Trev. We're playing a game. It's what if? What
The
if?
battery wouldn't be that good, though, I'd say. Because you're having that little...
that's a
These are
good point.
tiny.
I'm wondering how
They're all tiny.
Yeah.
you'd be charging this thing like all the time.
Yeah.
And it also takes its battery from the watch once you plug it in and charge. So, yeah.
Look,
You can unshare now, Tara.
Well, it's connected charge. Every time you move your wrist, it charges up. Like the old...
Oh, when the old watches used to shake your wrist like this.
Yeah.
And it would
yeah,
wind
you
it.
do- yeah, and then...
The
That's not what he
self-winding
meant.
watches.
That's not what he meant.
I know.
Oh,
I
I
just
see.
thought-
I think
just
it
thought
is
about
take off.
that.
You used to have the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
The thing.
And every time you shook your wrist, it would charge it up a little bit,
Basically,
depending how fast you go.
if you want more context to that, you Google April Fools and Pornhub, and you'll see exactly what I mean.
No
what
cups
you do,
involved.
what you do in your own personal time is it's a brilliant idea, by the way, but it's it never came out, sadly. Are you buying it,
Oh,
Taro?
somebody's...
I'm not going to buy it.
So
Personally.
shit
I'm
then.
not really-
Shit. Is that
I'm
what
not
you're
really a watch wearer, but
Okay.
if I
Neither am
was,
I.
and if I was a watch wearer, I would probably not have a smartwatch. But if I was a smartwatch wearer, I think it is pretty cool. Yeah.
So it's good, but it's shit.
That's a lot of
Really
what
is
ifs,
what we're
man.
saying.
Well, yeah, that's a what if for me personally, because I don't wear
Right.
watches, and even if I did, it would be a proper watch, not smartwatch.
Well, if
But
I was
for
a
people that wear
billionaire, I think I
smartwatches-
would.
I wear
I
one
mean-
when I'm out and about, smartwatch, my Apple Watch, but that's because it's got like GPS stuff and it's got medical things
Yeah,
that I need on it.
It's even a weird name. It's loosely a watch. It does so many other things, you know.
Yeah,
And the other thing is, guys, if you're taking your AirPods around with you, you know it's not they're not small. You know, some of them are quite big. They fit in your pocket, but it takes up a bit of room. They're kind of like you always notice that they're there, right?
Yeah.
Imagine you could just store them somewhere else.
Very true.
Maybe.
Very true.
It's handy.
It might not take off, but I thought it was fun to look at.
I remember reading some.
$25. I'm not doing that.
I remember reading something about it a little while ago. I thought if it was them or a rival company, and it was it's always a cool idea or something like that. Right, some game news that I've got on my side of things. There are one or two half decent titles on the Prime Gaming if that's your thing. If you're a Prime member, you get these for free, so they might not be AAA titles, but considering they're included as part of your membership, they've got to be at least decent in that respect. We've got Star Wars Jedi Knight, Dark Forces 2. We also have another one which is slightly more interesting, Marvel's Midnight Suns. That's not so much my cup of tea, that one, but that is something that if you're a Prime member, then you should add these to your collection. We also thought it was useful that the Prime Day sales are on at the moment as well. Like Prime Day, they have it every summer, and then obviously in November, Black Friday deals from Amazon 2 times a year with the really, really good sales. A couple of things I posted in their Discord that I thought were useful for the masses, and they'll be the equivalent in the States, but I'll do them in pounds. The AMD Ryzen 7 9800 X3D, aka the best gaming, or at least value-wise gaming CPU on the planet, normally retails for an MSRP of £480, give or take. I think you can get it on competitive offer from a lot of retailers for $450, but at the moment on Prime until the end of the Prime Day sales, it is, and you need to be quick by the time this podcast goes out actually, it's £400. So that is fantastic value for the best gaming CPU on the planet. Get in on that if you're looking to upgrade sooner rather than later, but you will need potentially you might be needing to know a new board, another motherboard, if you're changing from like Intel or something. So there is that, but they tend to you tend to have it for a lot longer with AMD. They don't change for quite a long time, to be honest with you. And I'm sure there was another Prime offer as well that was fantastic. Yeah, the one of their latest graphics cards. Is it remind me, Tar? It's the 9070 XT. Is that it? Is that their latest GPU?
9700 XT, I think.
Yeah, that's the one.
9060 just came out after the 9070.
Yeah, so the 9070 XT at the moment is retailing for 570. So that is below MSRP, I think. Or is it MSRP? Thereabouts. It's a fantastic price.
I think you might be talking about the 9060 because the 9070's been selling for like 850.
Could be, yep. Could be that one there. There was we put them in our Discord anyway in the relevant section. So go and check them out. There are some cracking deals in the Prime Day sales, but I try to just point out the things that are involved around games, game hardware, that kind of things that are relevant to our podcast anyway.
There was one or two people in the Discord that are blaming you, Trev, because they have to spend money now.
Oh, that's hilarious. I haven't seen that yet. Yeah, well, that's always my goal because people ignored them before. Now they're like, yeah. Right, the other thing that I found interesting as well, it's we like to big up the PC gaming side of things wherever we can because that's our collectively all obviously our first or only love. The title, I'll just read the title because it kind of speaks it all. Capcom's PC strategy is paying off as Steam revenue increases by over 61%, while PlayStation revenue declines. So what they're basically saying, boys, is PC for the win. We love PC. You console guys suck. I think that's maybe what they're saying. As Gray stuffs his face with baby
That's
bills.
how I read it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I read it as well. Actually, to be fair, I don't know. That's a little silly thing about it. I think it's cool. It says here
I think it's to do with price. Sorry.
Well, the PC games are often cheaper.
Yeah.
Mhm.
PC games are often cheaper. That certainly helps. Console games are always a lot more bloody expensive. Yeah, so
Yeah.
the most recent fiscal financial year it increased by, let's say, 61%, roughly $366 million. And that accounts for 31% of Capcom's total revenue, which is pretty fantastic. It was an increase of 10% over the previous year. Steam revenue accounts for 42% of that revenue alone. I think that's absolutely fantastic. Capcom, usually when they make games, will always have their games on PC first and foremost. Just console is the moneymaker for a lot of people, but Capcom have just proved there that that's not always the case. See, if you price your games competitively, you're actually going to get a lot more PC people buying them. And that happens. Like, for example, Dune the Awakening, which I was considering getting for ages and may still at some point, I can currently get that for £35 online. Like, not pirated or anything, like a legitimate key for it for £35. Like, that is a AAA title for a console in the UK is £70. I mean, pretty much half price. It's unheard of, actually. So this is why I think this is brilliant. That's essentially what they're saying to me here. And I know you guys might roll your eyes at this one, start rolling them in advance. But it is a big deal because there are amount of people in the States that literally, not States, China, that love this platform, and that's mobile gaming. Bungie are bringing out their Destiny game, which I mentioned a little while ago. I did mention this, but it's called Destiny Rising, and it launches this August. And honestly, it actually looks pretty decent. It's one of these situations, as I put it on for the video guys here, where you would never really play this on a phone with touch controls because that's madness. That's like games like Monopoly Go or Candy Crush or stuff that are designed for games on the go. You would actually hook it up to a little, you can put a PlayStation or Xbox controller on it. You can connect your phone to maybe a tablet or something. And this is useful to play games on the go if you're traveling or whatnot, or your hotel. Like I traveled once or twice a year for work. And then in my hotel, it'd be nice to have something like that because my alternative is going drinking with Matt and having to socialise with Matt. So like I maybe win a game instead of socialising with Matt. So there you go.
I can understand that.
But yeah, so yeah, exactly, mate. So
Only because you brought no.
It looks very, very decent. There are 500 million mobile gamers in China, and it's so lucrative. This is why Microsoft bought them over, Activision, because of the Candy Crushes of the world. So we don't like it. We don't really play mobile games that much, the four of us, but it's a massive, massive deal in parts of the I think it's actually the most played platform in the world, actually, mobile.
I'm still on Subway Rush.
Oh, yeah, by far.
Yeah, because everyone's got a mobile phone, more or less. So, and they're a lot more affordable, usually. So, yeah, I found that interesting. In August there, you can pre-register now, the usual apps, the Apple App Store, the Google Play Store, whatever, your cup of tea, stop sharing there. But yeah, so I found that pretty useful as well. And the last thing I've got to quickly share as well, and this is I do not work for Facepunch, the guys that develop for Rust, but I want you to show you a quick 2-minute video, right? And Gray, you don't need to make this a quick break or anything. It's not relevant, but I found it pretty amusing as well. You boys know Rust is my favourite game, and a lot of you maybe roll your eyes and blah, 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 yeah, whatever. I actually need to try and prove to you sometimes why, and to the masses why it is the best game out there, or it's my best game, right? And I'm going to try and prove the point just now. And I think we can share the audio for this. I'll maybe get away with this, so if you bear with me for a second,
My
guys.
eyes are open, Trev.
Yes, yeah. Go on with an open mind, son. Go on with an open mind, right? And that chocolate hobnob might take the winner.
Did you say your eyes were open or your mind was open?
Both.
Yeah.
And your mouth. Everything's
Something was
open, including the zipper in your fly as well. Right. So, boys, give this a quick watch, right? And generally, and tell me after if you think it's all baloney or not. I'll turn that down.
And that's the game.
2025 so far. This is all free.
You know what? I thought Rust was a completely different game than what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I've not seen any of this yet. Ooh.
It reminds me a little bit of PUBG.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's better than PUBG.
Yeah, I don't
20
die so
million
quick.
copies sold on Steam. 383 content updates. So this is for the audio people. Multiple free updates. 1 million total positive Steam revenue. Positive even. And that's 2025 so far. And this is what's coming up literally for the rest of the year. Big, massive free updates.
There's an island update?
This is fantastic. I cannot wait for this. Think of Waterworld with Kevin Costner. So there is a scene that this literally here, and I'll show you in a second a little bit more about it. You can build a base on a boat, customizable, like you do in the land, and take it with you. All the customized options there that you've seen on screen. Fantastic. There are going to be supply stations and whatnot, like in the middle of the sea, like Waterworld,
The
basically.
music's drowning you out a little.
I turned the music way down. It's below half. This here I don't get. I think this is new skins and stuff, fighter pilot stuff. So yeah, listen, this is what I basically wanted to show it for that reason. Here, oh, and yeah, I don't know why you put this at the end of another farming update. There'll be cows and milk. I think they've done that to just take the piss, to be honest with you. But yeah, this is the reason I go on about this game a lot in the past. I don't play it as much now because, you know, I've moved on to other things, but I still support it and watch the updates. I've never known a game to have as many free, constantly updated things in a game as this game. And I paid something like £7-8 for this in early access. And it's been 8 years out of early access. And it does a bunch of stuff, man. So yeah, Rust is often on sale. Its full price is £35, which again, go back to Dune Awakening PC game pricing, always cheap. This game is often half price as well when they're doing sales. So there are DLCs. They make a lot of their money from skins, which is fine. I have no problem with that. You often get free skins for the game as well with Twitch drops, which is another thing. So I will get the boys on at one point to play in the latest jungle update, because you can literally be Tarzan and swing from tree to tree. I mean, honestly,
I thought you meant
what
the
more
Minecraft.
do you want in life? You can have a pet crocodile in your nearby pool. You can blow in things, Matt. I know you like doing that, blowing in things. Darts, that is darts.
I just want to know if we can beat Tarzan. There is a Jane, right? I mean, I hope so.
Great, you get your
beat
mind out the
Tarzan.
gutter, man. You're just after the cheeseburgers and Stellar Blade again, you naughty
I
man.
was just mentioning
A very fluffy one, that one.
No,
Yeah.
well, there is a Jane. It's called Irish Guardian. We'll just put him in a little skirt, and he can be the base bitch, and we'll pass him around. Right?
I'll be
No.
your
Yeah,
beef burger.
there's also Cheetah,
Damn.
which is not the animal, but the monkey.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Whatever
I think
floats
that
your
looks
boat.
pretty good.
Yeah.
I think it looks pretty good. I have to say.
And they're also bringing
Then we'll
out,
get you to play it, Tara.
and I don't know when, but they're bringing out a crossover with Warhammer 40k. I don't know any more than that.
That's
Don't
gonna
know
be
any more, but
interesting.
they're basically doing the Fortnite thing, so that'll come in at some point. Listen, I'm aware we're pretty short of time, guys. Mr. Matt, we can do the quiz just now if you want to fire in. You done the questions
Yeah,
this
let's
time,
do
mate?
that. Okay, cool.
Go for it.
I can't remember the answers, so this is going to be fantastic.
Really?
Yeah,
Do you know?
yeah, I can't. I wrote this about what's it,
Well,
the last 3 times ago.
we're not doing the quiz then, mate, because if you don't
Go
have answers,
on.
it's a bit
We'll
shit,
see what
isn't it?
happens. We
No,
can get the
you don't
viewers to
have-
tell us what the answers are.
You don't have the questions anyway. So I'll tell you what, it's
got
all
to
Matt's
spit
fault.
out.
There's no
I know.
quiz, but we're a bit short of time anyway.
This never happened when I was doing it.
We are a bit short
Well,
of time
this is what
anyway.
happens when you drop the ball.
We will just
You
put
know.
it in. We let Matt do it for 1 week. He took over and he's not prepared. That's fine. No, we'll do it properly next week, and then Matt can put his answers in. So regardless, we are a bit
I've got
short
the
of time
answers.
anyway.
Just don't put him in the nose though, Matt, because it will all see.
Yeah, we are a bit short of time anyway. To be fair, boys, and we had so much content,
Yeah,
we
we
knew we'd have to move some stuff. So we'll
We
move.
actually did pretty good considering.
We did.
Yeah.
We'll move Grey stuff and Matt's stuff to the top of next week, and the quiz.
I've
will
got
get
the
done
answers
soon.
now, so we'll do that for the next one.
Yeah, we need
Until
to
I
use that.
lose them again.
that 5-minute buffer is useful for like shenanigans.
Put it on
and
your
great
forehead. You know.
Yeah, definitely on the back of my hands.
Yes, exactly. I'm just thinking of Ace Rimmer here, or Rimmer from bloody Red Dwarf when he starts writing. When he's writing the answers and he starts sweating and the answers start coming off. So if you know, you know.
Arnold Rimmer.
On that bombshell, man. On that bombshells. Appreciate your patience, everyone. We're going to call it there. We're going to be back next week. Until then, thank you, boys. Catch you
Thank you, everyone.
later. Bye-bye.
Cheerio. See you guys next time.
Here's the end.
Yes. See? No next Tuesdays.
World on fire.
Heart.
Peggy 16. Who's Peggy?